Yeah, that's floored. And we are barely able to accelerate over that 65 mile an hour speed I'm currently traveling at. Mind you, that is with, see that, we got 23%. Well, this thing struggles to even maintain 45 on the most flattest hill you could imagine.
Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Bits episode. Ben has just showed up to the track in your Tesla Model S with how many miles now?
266,000 miles.
We've been featuring this car just recently on the testing channel.
We have,
where
yes.
we did a bunch of performance tests.
And, can we spoil that one?
Yeah, it's already live.
It beat its original 0 to 60 time, which is pretty impressive.
It's pretty amazing how on paper electric cars can hold up over time. However, this car just ran into a major issue on your roughly 100-mile drive up here.
Yeah, 90 miles drive to here from Raleigh, and we had, I had 78, 75%, something like that when we left. We'll pull Tesla 5 if we need on that. And it said I was going to be here with like 1 or 3%. I'm like, no problem. I'll do that. And just set it on autopilot at like 75 or something like that, 5 over. And then I noticed at one point we were doing like 68, and it was set to be going much higher than that. And then I was like, oh, what happens if I push the pedal to accelerate? And nothing happened.
So you were at the max battery pack output.
We were using the entire output of the battery pack in that moment.
And what percent were you at?
20 something is where I noticed it at first.
Yeah.
And by the time we were at like 18 or 17% state of charge, it was below a 50 kilowatt output.
So this is a real problem because electric cars, everyone talks about degradation as the main factor of like, how long will that battery pack last?
Yeah.
But another factor is how much power output can it give over its discharge cycle? Because clearly at close to 100% state of charge, this thing rips.
It does.
But it doesn't rip for very long because as it starts to age, you'll get voltage sag, of course, with cell resistance values changing with different imbalances. But the imbalance, that's what I meant to say, the imbalance is the real problem because
that's the killer.
You'll get stronger cells and weaker cells as the car starts to age. And that could be depending on the heat cycles that particular group of cells were subjected to, or even just manufacturing changes and many other reasons for it. And that is the problem with old batteries.
So we've got a big imbalance here. It's resting around, well, after the supercharger, it was resting about 90 millivolts imbalance.
So what was the highest cell voltage that you saw in there? Because you have this, well, explain. Scan My Tesla is a, yeah, explain that really quick.
So we used a CAN bus connected Bluetooth OBD adapter, and that lets you run Scan My Tesla, and that gave us the ability to see a map of all the individual cells and their voltages. And once I noticed power limiting, I was like, well, let's go take a look and see what is happening here. So let's see, where's the first one where I started noticing it? Yeah, so at one point I noticed, oh, I'm not having a lot of power. You can see we have, this is under like a 25 kilowatt load highway speed at like 65.
And maybe for people who don't know, cruising at 65 is about 25 kilowatts on flat ground.
We had an 800 millivolt imbalance in the car at this moment.
Which is massive.
The minimum voltage was 2.6 on one of the cells.
Jeez.
Technically 2.5 is where these cut off and they go, warning, warning, you cannot drive.
Right, that's bottom programmed in so you don't chemically brick the cell.
Yeah. I have another screenshot here of that voltage being 2.49 and it sat at that 2.49/2.5 for a good 10 minutes while I was doing about 40 miles an hour on the highway, which is all it had, trying to get to the supercharger.
So Ben, it's cold outside. Is cold the temperature? Is that the factor here?
It could be. This battery was very happy. It was over 20 degrees Celsius.
Right.
It was warmed up.
Even though it's below freezing outside, the battery had reached operating temperature, which means you should get full discharge and cell performance.
As far as the battery's concerned, it's not cold.
So then,
it's warm.
Here's the question. Did the car throw any warnings that you could like bring it into Tesla and say, hey, here's my problem?
Nope. And you'll see that. We'll have some video clips of this. But it just limited power. The power limit on the power meter was stopped probably around 150, 130 kilowatt mark. But that didn't actually show up until it was really far gone.
So should we insert those clips now?
Yes. Have a look. Enjoy my camera work. All right, so we're having an interesting development here in the 260,000 mile Model S Raven standard range. The battery has had a CAC, so that's a like cell amp hour capacity imbalance for a little while. I think according to Scan My Test, that's something like 18 amp hours, which is a pretty good amount out of 200, on a full. But I think we're running into some imbalance situations here. Right now we're cruising, drawing around 20 kilowatts. I'm gonna floor it. Yeah, that's floored. And we are barely able to accelerate over that 65 mile an hour speed I'm currently traveling at. Mind you, that is with, see that, we got 23%. We've got quite a ways to the Out of Spec track here, and I don't even know if this car is going to be happy enough to make it to the Halifax supercharger at this point. It was a typical Out of Spec arrival. I was thinking 2%, but you can never trust the BMS with these sorts of things. And I've been sort of tracking this battery's health. I'll include a screenshot from Scan My Tesla showing the imbalance that we're seeing. Granted, this imbalance is down at 20% with about a 30 kilowatt load or so from driving on the highway, which does increase the imbalance greater than what you'd see. But I think the typical cutoff voltage or like minimum voltage on a Model S pack with like the Panasonic 18650s that these cars would have was somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.5 volts ish. Maybe it could be a little lower than that. But I do see one cell group has a cell that is currently at 2.7 while the others are all around a little over 3. So we've got like a pretty significant, I think almost 0.8 of a volt or 800 millivolts imbalance here. So this will be interesting. Might become a rescue mission. We'll see. Well, this is progressing rather quickly. I've decided to lock our speed down here closer to 55 just to try and extend the range. But we've now finally got the car showing a power limit, which it was not showing even though there was a pretty substantial power limit. One of the cell groups is down to 2.53 volts, so just barely above where I think Tesla's targeting the cutoff. Interesting, if you've got your hazards on, every car is red for blind spot because the blinker's on, which I think is a very funny side effect of how that programming was done. But we are very much unlikely to make it to the Halifax supercharger, let alone the Out of Spec test track. And unfortunately, this car does not have the NACS CCS upgrade on it, so the high-speed DC trailer is not going to be a lot of use to us in this situation. But I think it can maybe output via AC, thankfully. But yeah, that's very interesting. And the car still says we can get to the track with 4%, but that is not happening. I think we could run out of juice here any minute. It might even happen as high as, 15%, maybe more. I'm very curious to see when this battery will just decide to give up. Granted, this car has 266,000 miles on it, which is quite a bit. And this is an original battery pack. It's a 75 kilowatt hour battery pack. It's been through nearly, I think, 2,000 or we'll look at the numbers, but at least 1,800 cycles of charge and discharge, maybe more. So it's been worked really hard, and it's had a lot of full big discharges, from road tripping and things like that. And it was also a pretty hefty amount of DC charging in its life. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens here. But you know the rule, don't test the BMS, or, well, don't trust it, but also maybe don't test it in this case. I think I saw a 900 millivolt imbalance in the pack. Oh, there we go. Now we're really starting to lose our steam here. 52 uphill. That's got to be the lowest power output. I'm going to get us off the highway just to make sure I don't become a hazard or difficult for anyone, because I see an exit coming up here very soon, but we are coming to a dignified stop here. Interesting experience to have. Tesla's pretty good with battery prediction and management stuff, but even they are a little confused here. Cars know what to do. And I think there's thresholds in these cars for your, 49. And I would not say we're on a hill here, but look at that. That is a struggle. But yeah, Tesla's pretty good with BMS stuff typically, but I think the threshold for a warning here has been raised pretty significantly, and I'm guessing that is their method pardon me, doing that with the hazards. I think that is their method to try and avoid some warranty claims in these cars, as the unlimited mile battery warranties are still going on here. Oh, floor, yeah, that's floored, by the way, probably 10, 15 kilowatts. So we're gonna regen over, pull up here, see what we can find out. We'll pull up Scan My Tesla for some interesting data, and we'll throw the car on a level 2 charger if we can find something. And why don't we, just for fun, throw some park? Yep, battery will cool. We're at 17% indicated by the user interface. Let's go to go into our service mode. See what we have, any hidden alerts perhaps, or anything in there of interest. The legacy cars don't have the most involved service mode compared to the new stuff, but it's always interesting to see. Okay, here we go. It's got high voltage system. I don't think there's going to be anything in here. And there's nothing really to see. I mean, it just says, you know, that it's, I mean, the car thinks it's happy, which is very funny. But yeah, we don't have any active alerts yet. Very interesting. Let's see where we are. Alerts, service alerts. We have a old warning for TPMS, which I have fixed. But yeah, look at that. There's no alerts here. What a fascinating experience to have. Let the cell voltages get a little less spread apart, kind of give those cells a moment to breathe and settle. Back on the road here, again, just trying to keep the speed really low to try and get to that supercharger. But again, yeah, don't trust the BMS. I think what's going on here is these unlimited mile warranty cars, Tesla probably doesn't want. I mean, we gotta go 5 miles. I don't know that that's gonna be possible, but we'll give it a shot. I don't think Tesla wants to do warranty pack replacements anymore. And I can't imagine really they ever wanted to in the beginning, but I think they're trying to avoid it. And so instead of throwing an error to the user that they have something going on in the battery here, because the car's limiting power, or the BMS is limiting power in some way to a super low number to try and not bottom out that one brick in this battery. But it's not giving me a warning. The car's actually saying that if I wanted, I have over 130 kilowatts of output power, which is absolutely not the case right now. It's much closer to a limit of probably 30, 25 or 30 at this moment. But I mean, it's been a while since I've been in a Tesla and been in a situation where I couldn't trust the BMS. This car was level 2 charged, you know, last few days up to, you know, 70, 80%. You know, it sat at those numbers for a while. So it's had a good amount of time to be kind of balanced and settled in theory. But I think we're just starting to push the extreme limits of these older battery packs on this stuff. But yeah, we're at 50 miles an hour, really just trying to keep that power output really low and gentle. And we're just trying to nurse it into that supercharger. It's 4 miles there to go. So it'll be interesting to see if the car can make it. Well, this thing struggles to even maintain 45 on the most flattest hill you can imagine. We have made it to our exit, guys. This is big news. We have half a mile to go, and I am actually floored. Like, my foot is buried. That is what it is. That is barely able to maintain speed. Now, here's the question. Is this thing, with how unhappy the battery is right now, do we think it's going to even supercharge correctly, or just throw a fault? Very gentle acceleration, as gentle as I can be. We're in chill mode. We're doing everything. We're nursing it in. And, well, honestly, I'd say I'm being gentle, but I have to floor it to even do, you know, 25 right now. So, giving it all it's got. I mean, this battery is literally outputting 18 kilowatts at best right now. It's picking up decent regen, though, as you can see. We've made it. is the Halifax supercharger. It's good news. We'll plug it in and... Wow, that's a cold one. There we go. Come on. Let's take some juice there. Ooh, green. All right. Good job, Tesla. At least on the being able to charge. Whew. Here we go. Ramping up power. Guess we survived. We are gonna know. It is 19 degrees out. Turn on the heat and enjoy some heat finally.
So Ben, okay, so we see the car dying. You eventually made it to a supercharger,
yes,
but just barely.
Barely. I actually pulled off one exit away, or maybe two exits away from the supercharger, because it was getting so low on power. I think I had a 12 kilowatt output, which is barely enough to do 45 miles an hour. I was like, let me get out of the highway just in case this thing just bricks.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on the shoulder. I want to make sure it's safer. And I let it sit there for maybe, I called you, it was probably 10 minutes. Then that one battery that was around that 2.5 volt barrier on the minimum did come up to closer to 2.7, 2.8. And I was like, well, it's kind of settled. Let's give it another shot. And I just nursed it to the supercharger and plugged in and pulled a whopping, I used a V4 cabinet. I needed the cooled cables specifically.
V4 dispenser.
Sorry, not cabinet. On a V3 cabinet with a V4 dispenser. But we needed that because this thing pulls an insane 72 kilowatts at 18%. We really had to get all the juice in it. So.
Okay, so there's some problems that are overarching with this car that I'm noticing. The first thing is, it performs at high state of charge as it did on day one.
Yes. You're above 75, I'd say. It's day one.
And the battery pack capacity is above 70% total usable capacity from new.
Yes, according to the Scan My Tesla remaining capacity, and if you use TeslaFi's estimate, which is the estimated range at 100% divided by whatever it was originally.
Yes.
Which is 285, and this thing's now charging to 235 miles. It's 18 or so percent degradation, but I think's fine.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
But
the imbalance.
The imbalance and the performance at low state of charge because of that means you can't actually drain it all the way.
No.
And so your degradation is actually much more than 20%.
Correct.
But
it might be 40% depending on how you do your math.
Right. So then it comes down to, okay, how does Tesla view that in the eyes of warranty? Because if you were to bring this car to Tesla right now, they would go, we see no problems.
There's no warnings.
No warnings on the car. Yeah, the car is not telling them to replace the battery. So are they purposefully holding back on the warning so they don't, because this is still under battery warranty.
This is still under unlimited mile battery warranty. And so I did say that in one of the clips you might even hear, but I think there is maybe some leniency being put into that BMS warning software to try and avoid triggering one of these warnings at the expense of having someone run out of charge on the side of the highway at 20%.
Now that feels like
I'm
a very
not accusing, but all the data in there, everything is acting like this car should not have just done what it did.
Right, and so the battery pack's warm. It couldn't even maintain highway speed at 20% state of charge.
No.
That means that is not, in my eyes, what this car was sold to the original owner with. And that warranty transferred to you.
It does.
So I think Tesla
got another year and a half of it.
You got another year and a half. I think we can make this thing get a new battery.
Yeah, I think that shouldn't be too hard. Honestly, our friend Alex from Out of Spec Renew did say, we were chatting about this as it was happening. He said, I wonder what would happen if you just kept going. And I'm like, oh, it probably would have thrown a fault, I guess, with it being at the bare minimum voltage. I didn't want to have that on the side of the highway, but maybe here with a racetrack.
Yeah, maybe we got the track and the mobile recharging.
Yeah.
Not the big DC unit.
Yeah, this does not have the CCS upgrade, so it can't use a NACS DC charger or a CCS DC charger. It can only use supercharger protocol, so it can use Tesla superchargers, but not anything with a shared plug.
Yeah, which is...
It's going to get the upgrade, though. I'm planning to do that to it. Might as well.
Very nice. So yeah, I guess the question is, as vehicles age, first of all, how does the manufacturer claim degradation?
Yeah.
Most of them will go off what the BMS reports as degradation. Yeah. How do they tune that to actually be reflective of the usable capacity that the user sees? Because clearly you're seeing a way less usable operational window of the car.
Yeah.
And it's getting worse.
And I would argue that I mean, I appreciate if they warranty for degradation. On the Model S unlimited mile warranty, they did not warranty it like 70% like you see with Model 3 and Y. It's a battery failure that they warranty.
Really?
It's not a capacity on the early cars.
I see. I didn't realize that.
And I'm totally fine. Like if it degraded and had, let's call it 60% of original capacity, but worked flawlessly through that full SoC range,
yeah,
I'd say that's totally fine. Like,
okay,
you know, it's got over 250,000 miles.
Yeah.
But it's actually done well on degradation, depending on how you measure it again.
It's just the output capacity.
Yes.
And if you were to park it and let it rest at 20%, you could get a jolt of hard power before it sags back down again. So that's just, we see this all the time. My Mitsubishi i-MiEV is the same way.
Oh, yep.
And this seems to be the real killer of electric cars, cell imbalance and cell weakening rather than actual energy capacity. And
I think, you know, maybe that cell modular brick has resistance in it, because that is, I noticed, the warmest of all of them.
Yeah, makes sense.
Which, you know, and actually after unplugging from the supercharger, it had the highest voltage of them all.
Yep,
which
makes
does
sense.
indicate that one's just got a smaller amount of capacity to work from.
Yep, absolutely. The last point, Scott's looking pretty chilly over here. Your fingertips, sorry.
Her fingies.
I even forgot what my last point was going to be, but how about we just end it there?
We'll keep playing with it.
We'll keep playing with it. We'll have an update for you on this car. But Ben, I think we need to get a new battery in this car. Tesla needs to throw one in.
Now, the real hope is, so you could get a 75 kilowatt hour remanufactured refurb pack.
Yeah.
I hear those are pretty rare to come by.
Okay.
So what they have now is a 90 kilowatt hour 350 volt battery pack.
Okay.
So I wouldn't gain any voltage, but I would gain some capacity.
Yeah.
That would be my preferred, because that's basically a 100 pack with 2 of the modules out of it to bring it down to that lower capacity
That
voltage.
sounds like a nice pack to put in there.
Yeah, that's the upgrade for Model S 85 owners at the moment that they get as part of warranty, because 85 packs are no longer built.
Right, but we don't know what you would get here.
No, if they have a crappy 75 kilowatt hour pack somewhere, I might get that, but I kind of hope we get the 90, just because it'd be neat to not treat, you know, it'd be like having an LFP car.
Right.
Because if they software limit it, you just charge it up.
Charge it to 100. The last point, the one thing that I was discussing, thinking, you can't just do a module replacement in these.
No.
You can, it'll work for like 6 months or a year, and then they will just go. Because then you're putting a bunch of strong cells with a bunch of weak cells, and everything becomes out of balance.
Yes. And that's actually sometimes the risk with a Tesla remanufactured pack, that you don't have a perfectly balanced set of cell characteristics.
Yeah,
and
because they do that when they reman them.
Yes.
And that's why you
they have
never
some
want to
special
reman.
sauce
Do
that makes it last longer than 6 months, but a lot of times I hear it can be a shorter lifespan than what you'd expect.
Okay, well there you have it.
Yeah.
Old Model S problems, old EV problems. It's not the degradation that will always get you. Sometimes it's just the impedance, the imbalance, the weakening of the cell that can cause problems into the future. Scott looks miserable. We'll end the video now. Thanks for filming. Thanks for watching. See you in another one again soon. Good luck to this car.